Maraforce in Spanish, it means gang for life. The world's most ruthless gang, that's what he says when he recruits his members. You to the most dangerous streets of Central America, El Salvador, Salvatrucha, also known as Emes. Let's briefly tell the story of the Gang of 13, the name of this ruthless gang that is feared Salvatrucha. So the Salvador Gang are not just a criminal organization, but also a society, parts of a culture and a complex story. You're pushing me away, nephew, sit down. After the civil wars in Central America, migrations towards the USA had begun. Salvadorian migrants, with the dream of building a better life, settled in the country, but 1,900 in the 70s and 80s Salvadorian asylum seekers denied asylum in the US, so they had to live undocumented in America. This undocumented Hispanic community was severely racially discriminated against and marginalized, and the Salvatrucha gang to protect the Salvadorians in Los Angeles and California to look out for the safety of the people of the world. But the gang changed over time, and by the end of the 90s, highly organized had turned into a criminal organization. Group violence and criminal offenses by law enforcement agencies led to them being targeted, and that eventually leads to the conclusion, especially in El Salvador, to Central American countries, resulted in mass deportation, but their deportations strengthened the gang, have started to establish a presence in other countries. In a short time they became known the world over for their ruthlessness. Ms. 13 common story of fear and loyalty. The gang members were using their bodies, their commitment, and cover them with tattoos to show their loyalty. But I don't think being recruited into a gang there are more difficult conditions than getting a tattoo. That people who want to join the gang for 13 seconds, he needs to be beaten by the members. If at the end of this, if he survives, he's eligible to join the gang. Hiems 13, about 30 estimated, to have between 50,000 and 50,000 members. About 10,000 of them live in America, and the rest is in El Salvador. And that's why El Salvador, for decades, that's the biggest problem that's been going on forever. Criminal gangs are not only Ms. 13 and their rivals. The 18th Street Gang are huge, estimated to be about 30,000 people. These two gangs, the moment they meet, it's like a war zone. 26th of March, 2022. El Salvador experienced one of its bloodiest days. 62 people had lost their lives. President Bukele's government declared a state of emergency after this incident, launched rapid operations, and arrested 55,000 people in March 2022. At least 70,000 people arrested for gang membership. Regent Bukele, in February of the year 2019, he was elected president of El Salvador. The largest valley fought against gangs when he came to power. He started going after the gangs, and it was very well supported by the public. Known as the largest prison in Latin America, CECOT, the greatest symbol of the president's war against gangs, has a capacity of 40,000 people. January 2023, inaugurated by President Nayib Bukele, built with high security. The video of the mega prison Bukele, who introduced in his account, this is the only place where you can get out of here, that they'll be living in a mixed state for decades. They'll have a new home. Used the expression, the first criminal transplant in CECOT took place in February 2000. Gang members. He was filmed half naked with his hands tied, following the strict measures taken in El Salvador, committed in the January-October period of 2022. Number of murders of 2021, compared to the same period, 38% decrease.